Why do a lot of women tend to obsess over issues like their age or their weight, and what does that say about her deeper sense of self-worth?
Okay, I can answer this question. See, deep down, women know that their greatest agency is their age and their weight, as well as, their looks. And that's why so many women, they obsess about looking as young as they can. That's why, these beauty creams are ubiquitous. Makeup is so ubiquitous. Filters on Instagram and, on social media are ubiquitous. And why they don't want their ages and weights to be known, especially when they're at that ambiguous, almost at the wall age, like 28 plus. That's why. Because of this reason.
Good question. I think it has just a lot to do about like who they are and what they stand by, honestly.
Who they are and what they stand by is not even an answer, but I guess the girl is trying to say that women care most about their looks and their weight. Anyway, incoherent. Moving on.
Well, why do you think that there are a lot of women who tend to obsess over these issues, and what does that say about her deeper sense of self-worth?
I don't obsess over that shit, so I don't fucking care.
I'm not saying you do, but I mean, would you recognize that far too many women obsess over that?
I think that is completely because of men, and the only way to fix that is to eradicate all men.
What? What the? What is this? Oh my god. No. No, she didn't. Oh my god. Wow. What is this womanism garbage? Holy. Right, so that women are obsessed with their looks and age is because of men. Not not a chosen behavior by women in order to attract men, especially men that are above their weight class. And the only way to fix it is to eradicate all men. So what? You want to kill all the men? Like, excuse me? You want to get rid of the men that are literally providing you with all the benefits of your life, that gave you this beautiful, Las Vegas strip? What? Okay, guys, let me give you this analogy, okay? Again, I'm going to preface this with God forbid, because I don't actually want this to happen, okay? But God forbid, okay? If it did happen, let's say that tomorrow, all of the women on Earth were to disappear, okay? Again, I don't want this to happen, God forbid. But if they were to, the world would continue much as it is right now. All the roads would stay repaired, the internet would keep running, the buildings would stay powered, all of the cars would, the cars would still be driven, the buses, etc. Pretty much everything that you can think of in the modern world would keep running. And men would actually be happier because, there'd be less drama because, men are more logic-based. And basically the entire human race would go extinct. But it would be fairly comfortable decline, right? Until everybody dies. Okay. Now, let's say the roles are reversed, okay? And God forbid, again, because I don't want this to happen, God forbid it did. All the men on Earth disappeared tomorrow. Well, it would then just be like the Survivor show, right? If you've ever seen when women are on a deserted island by themselves, what happens? Basically, little by little, all of the world's amenities would break down. So the plumbing, the electricity, the gas that goes into the cars, the cars would stop working, the lights would go out, etc. And eventually, the world would fall into a state of disrepair like the zombie apocalypse, and it would be just sheer chaos, except in the countries that are, like tropical paradises where you can just pick food off of trees. And in those places, women would be fine, but elsewhere they wouldn't be. It would be just a total collapse of global society, and the women would die in droves. Again, God forbid this happens. So this girl is so brainwashed by the modern world, by 2022, that she actually has no idea what men's value is to the world. And so, think about how many women out there are walking around with these thoughts in their head. Hello and welcome to the Helios blog. My name is Helios, here for another reaction video. If you're new to the channel, liking my content, please like, sub, hit the bell for all notifications. If you're listening on the podcast, give me a follow, give me a 5-star review, and if you'd like me to comment on a compilation, specific video, maybe a Reddit post, please send it to theheliosblog@gmail.com. Let's continue.
Okay. Okay. By the way, are you attracted to men or?
Yeah.
Okay.
What a total disaster. Oh my god. You cannot make this shit up. You just... Rest in peace, Kevin Samuels. Oh my god. Like, how can you say those things about men and then expect to be in a relationship with a man? How could you possibly think that that stuff is okay to say? It's just, like, it boggles the mind that such a thing is even possible.
Just out of curiosity, do you think that that mindset might make it hard to find a relationship?
Well, we're both in long-term relationships, so.
With those thoughts? What kind of simps are these girls with? Oh my god. What a disaster. And they have those beliefs. Guys, this is 2022 dating in a nutshell, right? Where maximum agency for women, minimum agency for men, right? Like, I literally have to use a sun avatar. I can't use my face in real life because I'll get cancelled for saying the truth, right? For, you know, saying that women, literally talking about eradicating all men, saying that that's bad. I could get cancelled for that. You see what I'm saying? Okay. Here is another analogy, okay? In order to know who rules you, just figure out who you can't criticize. If you can't criticize that person rules you. Think about it.
So,
Why is it more socially acceptable for women to hate men than it is for men to hate women?
Uh-oh. So I'm going to answer this question. It's because of the matriarchy. So the modern world that we live in, they say that it's a patriarchy, that it's ruled by men, but that is not true. The modern 2022 world is ruled by women. And because it's ruled by women, women cannot be criticized. So when a man says that he dislikes all women, which I would never say, again, YouTube overloads and all that, but I genuinely don't believe it. But if a man were to say that, he's immediately a social pariah in the womanist system, right? And so he has to be eradicated because women don't have maximum agency if men hate them, right? So that thought needs to be eliminated. Now, the reverse applies. In a womanist matriarchal society, what happens is the women have maximum agency. And so, because men don't rule women, women are free to criticize men however they want. They can blatantly say that all men are trash, that men are garbage, that, you know, men aren't doing enough, and that, you know, men should change because men, there's something fundamentally wrong with them, or that all men should die, or whatever, you know. And that just goes to show how far the power imbalance lies, that is able to happen. So, for example, if a guy makes a YouTube channel on about hating women and talks about it, he'll get cancelled within a month. If a girl makes a YouTube channel about hating men, she'll get millions of followers, subscribers, and likes because that sort of thinking is promoted in the YouTube algorithm. But not only this, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Snapchat, Snapchat not so much, it doesn't really matter for the purposes of this discussion here. Those thoughts are allowed to be permeated. And so what happens is those thoughts are allowed to be broadcast, but the thoughts that women are doing things wrong are not, or they're suppressed. Just see my channel, for example. If you look at the views on my channel, they're not very high. versus a womanist channel of the same type, right? Think of the speed of growth of such a channel versus my sort of content. It just shows the current way that the cultural narrative is, right? That their content is promoted and mine is suppressed, right? So that should give you a very strong idea of who rules who in the modern world.
Because I feel like men do worse things. Women are sneaky, so like you hear about very one-off things, but men, they get caught a lot more, and it's
So men are worse because they get caught more. I see. And women are sneaky. It's funny that she says this. It means that she's telling on herself. She's saying that she's sneaky. Now, with regards to whether all women are sneaky, I'd say that no, not all women. Though, it is true that as a group, women have been responsible for the negative teaching of the modern man. They've purposely taught the modern man anti-game in order to further facilitate their strategy. And I would say that that is inherently deceptive. And it's why channels like mine exist. Because the truth that the Earth orbits around the sun, it needs to come out. Because if it doesn't, men will continue to be destroyed by their lack of knowledge.
the more general things, and it happens more common. So
Should
I think
anybody
that-
be hating anybody?
no, it's not cool. It's like
So
when
why don't
it's
you think more women
hypocrites.
aren't called out on that behavior?
Because then you get called like a woman hater and stuff like that. Then they
Oh, look! So she admitted it. If you call out any girl for speaking poorly against men, you get labeled as a woman that hates women. Now, do you understand what I'm saying? This is the matriarchy attempting to maintain its power through social shaming, which is actually a convention that works very well with women. It's actually what religion used in order to get women to, not sleep around before marriage, not chase the alpha males, marry a virtuous man, and have kids from a young age, right? That exact same convention that used to work with women is now being used to perpetuate the matriarchy, female empowerment, female independence from men, and by extension, female misery.
they change the narrative. So.
Women often talk about being underrepresented in male-dominated fields because historically they weren't allowed or encouraged to. So on the flip side, why are men underrepresented in female-dominated fields like nursing, teaching, and modeling?
Okay, so I can actually answer this. It's because affirmative action doesn't go both ways. Men are expected to provide and achieve, and women, they just complain, right? But what's actually really funny is that in these male-dominated fields, there are lots of scholarships for women to join. So they can, if they want, they just don't want, because these jobs are hard. They're very logic-based. They go kind of against women's nature, right? And so they don't want to do them, even though they would be rewarded handsomely if they did. Now, men are not expected or affirmatively actioned into getting a job in female-dominated fields because, well, first of all, those female-dominated fields, it's kind of like Mean Girls, right? Like they'll push out the men who want to join in order for them to maintain their hold over those jobs, because those jobs actually provide a lot of wealth for less work or whatever you want to call it. Now, I want you to notice something, okay? And I'm sure you have noticed this, but let me just point it out and see if you can point it out in your life. In the female-dominated fields, if there is a man that works there, like 95% of the time, it's going to be an attractive man. Now think about why that might be, okay? In terms of hypergamy. The reason is because, these women want to then share that guy amongst themselves. Or, they just want eye candy. So, check that out in your local nursing department or, school, elementary school, etc. You'll find that the men are almost invariably attractive. Very attractive to women. because those are the guys that they let in, right? It's apex men and women that work there. Anyway, please leave a comment if you agree or disagree with my statements. Anyway, let's move on.
Okay, so with that firsthand, right? Because I know about this firsthand. Being a nurse, a guy being a nurse, we're teased, we're talked about like, hey, that's supposed to be a woman's job. When actually it can be anybody's job, but society put the stigma on what a nurse should be and who should be a nurse.
Would men not be equally oppressed to not be encouraged to go into those fields?
Maybe 10 years ago, but now male are going into those fields. They're going to be RNs, LVNs, and nurses and stuff. So I think times has changed.
In that respect, I think that's probably true. This guy has personal experience. He's probably a nurse himself. But anyway, yes, before men were shamed for doing female-oriented careers, but actually they were shamed by other men, right? They were expected to do the male-oriented careers. Anyway, yeah, that has changed in the modern world. It is more likely now than it used to be for men to work in female careers, and also it's more likely for them not to be shamed. But I think that's more of an extension of men becoming weaker than anything else, right? So men are not really, calling men out so much anymore because there's many more weak men than before. All right, anyway, moving on.
I feel like men aren't encouraged by other men to go into those fields. I don't think if you have a male nurse, that male nurse is surrounded by women, and rather than the men being like, oh my gosh, girls all day, it's more as, oh my God, you're a nurse.
Well, what about
That's actually not what men say. That's actually what women say. Yeah, anyway. And not only this, as I said, the women often do the mean girls thing where they sort of push the guy out of the career in order to prevent them from getting that job, or they HR them or whatever, right? Because women are much more in-group based than men are. They're more herd oriented, as it were.
Modeling and like cosmetics and things like that? I mean, why isn't the same narrative true for both genders?
Because for far as modeling, the total has changed because there's a lot of guys that's modeling now. Makeup wise, maybe because society, it was something that was meant to.
Oh, okay. I actually have the answer to this question because this guy has no clue what he's talking about. Okay, so models is just not as high, demand for them, and the reason is because women don't care as much about looks as men care about looks. Women do care about looks, they do, but it's not the only thing, and it's not the major thing, right? So female models will have much more demand than male models because of male thirst. Okay. With regards to makeup, now here, guys, this is biological. Okay. I want you to think about pretty much every guy you've ever seen. Think about the rate of acne, okay, when you were younger. Is the rate of acne higher in men or women? Exactly. The rate of acne is higher in women. And here's the reason why. It's because women are the selectors of the human race. So they select out of the gene pool the weak men, and they consider men with acne on their face to be weak. And so they get naturally selected out, whereas men don't select women like that out of necessity. Most men, they can't say no to a girl with acne if she's wearing makeup or whatever and hiding it and is giving him access to bedroom fun. They just have to take it, right? And so in men, it gets naturally selected out, but in women, it doesn't. And that's why you see less men with makeup, because they don't need it. Because the men who would have needed it have already been naturally selected out, if that makes sense.
To beautify women, in a sense, and not to beautify men. But now that we are in this free society, it's like it's fair game to everyone because you got men wearing makeup too.
I mean, you do have men wearing makeup. In fact, it's ubiquitous in the movie industry or in the TV show industry. If you're an actor, you wear makeup, whether you're a girl or not. But the reason is because of the perception on camera that you want. You want the person to look perfect, so that you have to, touch them up less and do less video editing and all that sort of stuff. But I'm talking about the real world here and not the fake world of the, the TV industry.
I think because men are I think they're more embarrassed to go into a field that's like predominantly women. And I think that they feel like they're going to be judged, which...
Well, don't you think that women are embarrassed to go into male-dominated fields because they're going to be judged?
Yeah, but...
So isn't that the same for both genders?
Yes. I mean,
really, we live in a world where you can't win no matter what you do, almost.
That isn't true. This girl can't, though. She's telling on herself, right? And the reason is because she's wasted her youth, right? I wonder if this is the girl's mother here. If it's the girl's mother, then never mind, right? But if this is a young woman, like let's say around the age of 30, I can't really tell the age of this woman here. If she's a young woman, she's wasted her youth because she's allowed herself to be overweight. And because she's allowed herself to be overweight, men won't find her attractive. So she's kind of wrecked. And also, a woman's window to get a man is short. So if you waste your youth as a girl, it's done, right? So you as a woman, you especially can't allow yourself to become overweight.
Because it just seems like no matter what you do, somebody's going to say something, whether you're male, female, or whatever. Like it honestly comes down to no matter what you do, somebody's going to say something about something. So.
Okay, but who cares, right? Like people can say whatever they want. You need to go after your own goals, right? So like, okay, sure, people can say whatever they want to say. The saying is kind of relevant. It's like if there is a cultural barrier in place, which there isn't, right? Though I would say that a man being in the makeup industry or whatever is stigmatized heavily. And I think that he would be pushed out by the women working there. I think he would be socially ostracized. Although for barbers it's not the case, for hair cutters. So it depends on the field.
Why do you think women are more concerned about the ratio of male to female CEOs as opposed to the ratio of lower paid, dangerous, dirty jobs done mostly by men?
Oh, right. Well, this is because women want the benefits of provisioning for their children, right? So, of course, they would complain about there being less CEOs. Whereas, for the crappy jobs, they don't even see those men. Those men are invisible to them. So why would they complain about that? Those aren't even men in their eyes. So, like, to women, those men are more like dogs or cats. Like, they're not humans, which is very upsetting for me to say. But literally, women see 80% of men as invisible. They're not even in the running. Okay, anyway, let's move on to our Reddit post. Also, please leave a comment if you agree or disagree with what I'm talking about. Sure, let's do this one. Tempted to cut off my ex-girlfriend financially. I broke up with my ex-girlfriend around 2 years ago. During the relationship, I financially supported her, to an extent. She had her own funds flowing in too. As we got to the end of the relationship, her income was cut off, disability allowance. While I really won't go into too much detail on why that happened, she's disabled, it meant she was quite messed up. She broke up with me a few days later. I said I would help her get back on her feet. I mean, at the end of the day, this woman broke up with me, but I still do care intensely about her. I did before we were even in a relationship. Okay, so guys, if the relationship ends, the provisioning ends. That's the rule. If you continue to provision her, you are a loser. You're a useful idiot. She's going to sleep with another guy and use your provisioning for free. So you should never allow yourself to be in this situation. And this guy is in a terrible situation now. There have been some months where she's had income flowing in, but I would say about 75% of the months she needs topping up. Turns out since 18 months ago, she's had a boyfriend. As I said. Her boyfriend is refusing to give her money. He gets angry at the suggestion. There have been times when my ex-girlfriend has reached out because she genuinely was starving, so I'd buy her pizza or something while I waited for money to transfer to her account. Now I'm weighing up whether to blindly cut her off. On one hand, it comes across as, oh no, you're cutting me off because you know I have a boyfriend, which I guess is true to an extent. However, I'm not cutting her off because she has a boyfriend. I'm cutting her off because I don't see why I should do the heavy lifting in a relationship I'm not even in. So guys, what's ridiculous? Here's what's ridiculous. That men are taught that this is the correct behavior. That is a travesty. That men are not taught correctly. They're taught that you should be the knight in shining armor and save the girl regardless of what you're getting. No. If she is not providing you the benefits of the relationship with you, you don't provide her the benefits of being in a relationship with you. It's reciprocal. If she doesn't give, you don't give. And in fact, I would argue that the girl has to show interest first, and she has to show more interest than you show in order for you to commit to her and to give her resources. Because in the modern world, if not, you're going to be taken for a ride. Look at this. This post was posted 11 hours ago, guys. It wasn't like, I didn't just come up with some random post from, 6 months ago to cherry pick it. 11 hours ago, guys. That she is even allowed to move on in a relationship, whereas I have to dedicate 8 to 10 hours of my week funding her food. I can assure you that it's impossible for me to find a girlfriend where I give my ex-girlfriend money just because she loved me for a year. Well, exactly. On the other hand, me cutting her off would cause her to have zero income, and she genuinely would struggle for food. I have absolutely no doubts about that. I know her. So yeah, I'm thinking that maybe I could taper the support while she finds someone else. Guys, okay, let's see the top comment. If the top comment isn't anything but you're being used, it's ridiculous. Cut your ex off ASAP. You should not be the sole financial support system for anyone whose existence you're not directly responsible for. Bam! 589 upvotes. Thank you. Okay, here's the second comment. Lol, she broke up with him and found a new man after 6 months and is still considering if he should support her. Disability or not, I tell her to fix it herself if she has a BF now. OP isn't a money tree and she's very messed up for using him for 1.5 years like this. Oh no, she was using him for longer, guys. She was using him for like 5 years. Alright, we're going to end the video there. Again, please leave a comment if you agree or disagree with what I say in my videos. If you're new to the channel, liking the content, leave me a sub. Hit all for notifications. If you're on the podcast, give me a follow. Give me a 5-star review. Thank you so much for listening, guys. And I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching my channel. Please remember to do all of the following. Like the video for the algorithm. Comment on the video. I respond to all comments and I'll give you a heart. Subscribe and hit the bell so you can see my content on your feed. Check out all of my content on other platforms. It spreads the reach of the channel. YouTube, bit.ly/heliosyoutube. Rumble, bit.ly/heliosrumble. My blog is realheliosblog.com. My podcast, bit.ly/heliospodcast. My Patreon, patreon.com/theheliosblog. You can also support the show at bit.ly/heliosdonations and buy my books at bit.ly/heliosbooks. Thank you so much for all of your support.